Welcome to Balance Boldly, the podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, balance and relationship advisor, moving you beyond the simply surviving of burnout that you're dealing with in your work and your life and into a space of thriving in life, love, and business. You guys that have been listening to us for quite some time know that we live and breathe in seasons. I move with ease and flow between seasons, and we are episode 2 deep into season 11, which is all about breaking boxes. We're breaking every box. We're breaking expectations. We're breaking the box we put ourselves in. We're breaking the box the other person tried to put us in. We're just breaking everything so we can make room for everything that really matters for us. And as we move into week 2 of season 11 for Breaking Boxes, I have the pleasure of introducing you to this phenomenal woman who was referred down the referral line to me. It was super awesome because they said she would be an amazing, amazing guest for Balance Boldly podcast. And in our kind of podcast conversation, we just kind of fell in love with each other. We were laughing and giggling. I feel like the first time we were on the phone for hours and it was her night out. She was trying to have some romantic time with her husband and we just ended up talking for a good 2+ hours, which of course she still made room for her man. So don't think she chose me over him, but we had a really good time. Her name is Kyana Brathwaite. She is a registered nurse. First of all, backing up, she is a woman who wears multiple hats. She's a registered nurse, a wife, a mom of 2 beautiful children who are in cyber school. So she's homeschooling too, y'all. And she's the CEO and founder of KB Cows, providing healthcare interaction services that empower clients to make informed decisions around their health and wellness and customize their wellness solutions so that it can encompass all aspects of their healthcare, especially for individuals, but also for families and employees. So keep that in mind. Kyana, welcome to Balance Boldly. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Naketa, for that wonderful intro. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Do you remember that first night that we talked and it was like...
We couldn't get off the phone? Yes, I do.
It was hilarious. And we've had multiple conversations since then because, again, we were like fell in love with each other. But I remember that night you were like, well, I was trying to sit with my man and listen to some music, but we're going to have this conversation anyway because we're just loving on each other too much. It was hilarious. And we kept saying, all right, you go. No, you go.
It was like when you were on the phone with your boyfriend and you're like, no, you hang up.
It was so phenomenal. I loved it. And of course, from that moment, which of course, that particular first conversation, we were, definitely doing it around the podcast and, what would make you a great guest to share all this amazing stuff about your life that could really just feed the souls of our listeners who are entrepreneurial in spirit. They are leaders, executive leaders, and kind of traditional entrepreneurs as well as those that I call those careerpreneurs that are professionals like we are. You're a professional nurse. I'm a professional clinician who are also entrepreneurs and kind of taking their skill set forward in different ways. And, just testing each other out. You wanted to check to make sure that I was going to be, not a boring, monotonous sounding person. And I wanted to make sure that you weren't here to just be like, hey, I got a novel coming. I want to plug it, that kind of thing. So we had a great conversation. And I'm so thankful for you being here. You're welcome. In the spirit of breaking boxes at the end of 2018, as we move forward to 2019, please tell everyone about yourself and just some of the boxes that you had to break, including those kind of roads of burnout that you dealt with along the way.
All right, it's been an interesting journey. So I, real quick, started off at the bottom rung as a nursing assistant, nursing assistant, and then moved into what they call a certified nursing assistant role. But a lot of times it was a step for me, right? So it was, I'm here, I'm learning, I'm gleaning everything that I possibly can. And it was preparing me for whatever that next level was. I didn't really realize that until now that I look back on my life, but I had a lot of mentors, at the time, and like, I see something great in you, you need to move forward. Why are you still here? You should be doing something else. And eventually that led me to nursing school. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit as far as my first understanding of breaking boxes, because the school that I went to was a diploma program. And because I was a part of it, I was kind of guaranteed, this position at the hospital, right? and because I was a scholarship recipient.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought process behind that was, as a nurse, when you graduate, you go into med surg and you do 5 to 6 years in med surg and you quote unquote get your skills down, and then you branch out into different arenas of nursing. And I was like, why do I have to do that? Why would I do that? That is not my, that's not my path. That's not my passion. My passion was ER. It was critical care. It was one-on-one kind of patient-nursing relationship, and you could not get that in the med surg arena. So, I had a bunch of people tell me, oh, you're not going to get a job. And I decided I wanted to go into critical care. And they're like, you're not going to get a job in critical care. Da-da-da-da-da. So I applied to one other hospital health system in the Philadelphia area, which is UPenn Health, a very well-known, very prominent, prestigious health system. And I went for the smaller hospital, not the super small, but the middle one, which was Pennsylvania Hospital, applied for this tele position. I go in and I'm interviewing with the person, HR takes you over, and I'm interviewing. And I think I mentioned that I was interested in critical care, even though I applied for the tele position. And so she walks me over and we're talking, had a great conversation. And I end up in this room with all these nurses, right? So they're coming at me, interviewing me. There's about 6 of them. And I knew it was a critical care unit. And I was, when I say nervous, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm a brand new nurse. I'm sitting here. All these nurses are asking me questions. I don't even know if I know what I'm talking about. I'm just a deer in headlights. I was 26 at the time, but I felt like I was 10. And so, we finish up and she's walking me back to the tele unit, right? Because she did like a really quick, this is telemetry. And then she took me right to the units. And I did not know what was going on, right? I didn't know the plan that God had for me. I didn't know. So she's like, well, you met with the cardiac care unit, the CCU nurses, and you met with the ICU nurses and the neuro nurses, and they really, they thought highly of you and think you'd be a great member of the team. And I'm looking at her like, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Because I'm interviewing for tele, right? And she's like, so, you have your pick. You could do ICU, you could do neuro ICU, or you could do CCU. And I kind of cocked my head to the side with my eyes wide open. And she's like, oh, or you could go back to tele. And I was like, nope, I'm going to take neuro. So that was one of those boxes where, everybody else had put me in this box. When you graduate, this is how you start. And you're not going to get a job anywhere else because you're starting at this little itty bitty community hospital. And I was able to step out on faith, right? I had proclaimed this to myself, not to too many people, but people kept saying to me, well, this isn't how you do it. And I remember thinking, why? Why isn't how I do? Why do I have to do it the way that everybody else did it? I'm not everybody else. And so that was my first box, right? So I get there and it's crazy, it's stressful. I don't think the first 6 months I was there, I didn't use the bathroom until I went home.
I know that life.
I didn't eat until I went home. Like, it was just so stressful. But it helped me realize that there was a time for me to move on, right? So after I had my kids, I moved on to another health system, Mainline. And the manager at the health system where I started kept trying to, again, put me in a box. So when I interviewed with this other manager at Mainline, she recognized who I was, right? She recognized what kind of person I was. And despite their policies and their procedures and how they usually hire, she took a chance on me. Yeah. And she was like, I didn't get what I wanted, and we don't usually do it this way, but I'm going to take a chance. And her taking a chance on me allowed me to move into Mainline Health and blossom and bloom and really find what I enjoyed. And it was a per diem position. So per diems, we're a completely different mindset because we don't sit in one spot. We love to float all over the place and take chances and do all kinds of things. It takes a very special person to be per diem, especially in the nursing world, because you get thrown into some stuff and you be like, hold up, what? I'm the guest on this unit and you treating me like I've been here for 5 years.
Exactly.
Right. So, I happened upon a department called interventional radiology, which was new and blossoming around 2008, 2007. So I'm going to scoot back a little bit. When she hired me, I had just had our first child. My daughter's now 10. And I found out that I was pregnant with our second child 3 months later. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm pregnant. Like, okay, I don't know why you're apologizing, but that's fine. And, when you go out, we'll figure it out. And I was just, again, it was just like, here I've been placed under this person who's
Yeah.
allowing me, because sometimes somebody else has to allow you to be you before
Yep.
you can really see who you are.
Permission, honey. Don't get me
Yeah.
started. That unsolicited permission. Yes.
So, it was just like, oh my gosh, this person sees me and I don't have to kowtow. I don't have to cater to. I can just be that bulldog that I am. And she's there. She's got my back. And she was like, all right, well, I have all these opportunities. Which one you want to do first? And I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And moving into IR allowed me to fulfill one of my per diem requirements without actually fulfilling it because it was an agreement they needed coverage. And I walked into it, and when I was pregnant with my daughter, I dealt with IR at Pennsylvania Hospital, and I was like, I'll never go to IR. I hate it. It's the worst thing. And then I hit IR at Main Line, and I was like, ooh, God, how'd you done stuck me in this? Because I said never, huh? So, okay. Never turned into, yep, right now, you're going to do this. And I did, and I loved it. It answered so many pieces of me, right? It was the calling to be one-on-one. It was the calling to be in something that was new and just budding. And it was the calling to be innovative. And it gave me this autonomy, right? So as soon as the doctors got to know me and my style, and I would say to them, oh, well, our patient coming in, they're really anxious. I would like to give them so and so and so. And they would be like, okay, give them 10 milligrams and let's see how they do and keep an eye on their blood sugar. And I'm like, all right, well, they said that they took their blood sugar meds on the floor, even though they didn't eat what they were supposed to. So I want to, keep an eye on their blood sugars throughout this process and keep you abreast of what's going on. And my docs were like, yes, let's do it. So it was empowering, right? It was like this voice that I, as a nurse, had in this department that I didn't have, in the ICU.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're fighting docs. So I didn't have to do that. So that's kind of what opened me up to wanting to have more autonomy and wanting to be, to explore that nursing skill set that, God had called me to. And it was like running, or, there was an adrenaline to it. And it was this thing that just kept feeding me. And to have the respect of, somehow my reputation preceded me when I would go to the other hospitals, because Mainline has 4. And the doc's like, yeah, I heard great things about you, so let's do this procedure. And I'd be like, all right, can I get 10 mics of fentanyl because they're still in pain? Sure, go ahead and give them 10 mics, and you just, let me know what you're giving them and keep an eye. And I'm like, what? Okay, sure. Yes, this team, let's do it. And a lot of the docs that other people had problems with, I didn't have those issues, and I missed that because when I left the last hospital I was with, I left and I had a great team. I could have a bad day and folks didn't take it personal, right? I could come in there with my face all scrunched up and they'd be like, all right, Kyana needs a little space. So we're going to, hey, Kyana, this is your case. It'll be in an hour. They should be coming in. Like, they knew who I was, and we just flowed together. And it was like a marriage away from my marriage, right? They got me. And when I left them, I lost that piece of me, and it took a lot, Naketa, for me to not, because I think I identified with that so much that it became something that I was like, oh yeah, and so I'm a nurse, but I'm a bedside nurse in IR, and then when I lost that due to injury, it was like, who am I? What am I? It was really hard, and so I tried to do it the way that other people did it, right? So I went to school, had a great career, worked for this system for almost 10 years, put in my everything, sacrificed, and then got injured. And it was like, all right, see you so long, sorry to help you. And then I got another job, stumbled into that because of the personality and who I am, and had volunteered with my kids' school at the time. And they were like, oh, I think you'd be great for this position. And I remember while I was going through the interview process, a lot of people were like, I kept saying, is this something I should do, right? Should I be doing this? Because once again, people are telling me, yeah, you could do that. You could. And I was like, no, you're not listening. Is this something I should do? Like, it doesn't feel right to me. And again, because I had lost who I was kind of seeking other people to kind of tell me, because I was still figuring it out. And I went into this position, and it was like, I died, right? Because it was hard waking up every
Mm-hmm.
morning. It was painful. It was sloughing, and I was going against my spirit because I'm sitting in this office in this cubicle doing these things at data entry, and I was just like, this is just not who I am. And I cried to my boss and was like, listen, this isn't a good space for me. I think I need to leave. And they kept telling me, no, it'll work out. Just give it a little time. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to tell you that I've never felt like this before.
You couldn't breathe.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it was suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget the day he fired me. He doesn't call it that. He still holds on to, oh, it was a mutual fire. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever gets you to sleep at night. But the day he fired me, I cried in front of him. And, as women, we're like, they tell you, don't let them see your tears. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them know that it's getting to you. And I'm sitting there. And he's like, oh my gosh, are you going to be okay? I was like, no, you don't get it. These are the happy, like, this is the release. This is,
yeah.
I needed this.
You were waiting for it.
I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it until I got it. So I broke that box. I broke the box of living up to everybody else's expectations and not defining it for myself, because I'm the one walking in these shoes, nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And now, there's several things that we're dealing with as I've stepped out into the entrepreneur space. I'm not making the money that I was. I mean, I was a nurse. I did it for 12 years, 11, 12 years. I was making close to a good bit of change. And now it's like, that box, right? So I was defining myself by the money I was making, and by the money I was making, and by being a quote unquote member of my household, right? A partner who's bringing in money and also doing all these other things. And I didn't really, my worth was built into what the money was that I was making and what my title was, right? So when I stepped out into this entrepreneur space, I remember, sitting in the back going, oh, I'm a nurse, but I'm a business owner, and, just real quiet. And I didn't have I'm going roar voice on. And that process took about a good year and a half to just be able to step into that and step into it like, yes, I'm here, and I'm breaking things, and I'm doing things, and I'm disrupting things, and I'm stepping into this healthcare space because I see this need and I see this gap, and no, nobody else is doing this. It's scary as all get out, and yeah, but I can help you figure it out, and it's individual, and let's sit and talk. And I don't just want to help you with this one thing. I want a partnership, right? I want you to look at this system as something that owes you something, because they do, because you're coming to it and saying, yes, I need help. I'm in a vulnerable space, but I'm still strong, and I'm still a person. And no, I don't care what the textbooks told you. I'm telling you what I'm experiencing, and let's have a conversation about what I'm experiencing and what that could be and what's causing that. Not what your textbook told you it is, because I'm a Black woman, or I'm I'm Chinese, or I'm Latino, or whatever it is, and you just put me in this box. No, let's really talk about what's going on, where my life is, where what my stresses are, what my strengths are, and what my body's telling me. Because I don't think that we're told it's okay to listen to our bodies, right? A lot of times we're told, no, you got your body now. If it's not showing up on the, in the labs, and if it's not showing up in your assessment, then that's not that's not true. And you're like, hold up, wait a minute. I don't care that you're not seeing it on the MRI, or
but I still feel it.
Right. I'm still feeling it. So what could this be? And you seek out these people, and you defer to these people, and you're trusting, and they're not listening. So anyway, that kind of got off and went down the rabbit hole. Sorry.
No, I want to pause for a second, because I think that was such a phenomenal that you brought it forward. So my recap of takeaway of what you said was powerful in so many stages, Kyana. So you went from, other people trying to put you in the box of what you couldn't do and the pace that you were supposed to have to do it in terms of entering into the critical care level of healthcare, and you being able to break that. And a lot of the things that you broke moving forward up to a certain point was because you had people who were looking at you individually and saying, no, I see the potential. I see where you can go. I see what you could do, even though your resume may not have shown to this point that you have done it already. No, I think you could do critical care. No, I think you can come over to IR and do this. Yes, we trust that you said give us the 10 milligrams of blah blah blah. Like, we trust that you can do this and that you are astute in your clinical experience enough, customized to those individual patients that you're working for, that you could do this. And you had both women and men who were in different authority positions being able to say, no, we see the potential, Kyana. And I think the point that you made there was, for all of us who are listening, is to be mindful of when you're talking to someone, don't just look at them like they're in a box. It's not just about you breaking your own box, but being mindful that you don't put other people in the box because it's comfortable for you. Oh, her resume doesn't show this, so we're just going to ignore that. And like, look at the great things that you were able to do with it. Not to mention the fact that you were about to put yourself in the apology box when you were pregnant with a blessing, your second child, and you had another woman tell you, in this particular case, it happened to be a woman that said, no apologies, we'll make it work. We believe in you enough to make this flow. So you'll take your maternity leave, do what you need to do, and you will still have a place with us. I mean, I think there's so many rich lessons underneath of everything you said, including bringing it forward to what you just said about, what you do now with KB Cows and helping people, taking your nurse practitioner clinical experience, bringing it forward to say, what, every individual is different. And I know that your difference matters, even if the blood test didn't find it, the x-ray didn't see it, whatever. So looking at, from an administrative level, what you do through KB Cows is being able to say, well, what's your health insurance? What are the wellness benefits that you have? Okay, based on that and your needs, put it on your clinical hat, your needs of this other stuff that you said you're going through, whether the doctors have found that or not. And we understand, because we're all raised, when you're in a behavioral science or life science background, you're raised to look at the boxes. We have to go by diagnosis. It's how you're groomed in that professional. So it's no diss to the doctors, nurses, social workers, therapists, psychologists that have to look at the boxes, but they still have to listen to the patients. And you're able, because you've been on the other side, on the clinical side, you now with KB Cows are able to listen to the patient in an individual way and say, okay, let me look at the lab results. Okay, let me look at this. All right, well, based on your health insurance, these are the things that you should be asking for. Maybe we need to get an augmented acupuncture or, or a chiropractor or whatever in addition, because those holistic, homeopathic, or what I mean, or different non-allopathic traditional medicines will be able to help you with uncovering some of the other things. And I think all of that was you saying, I'm not going to put other people in a box either, because I don't want to be put in a box. So I heard it, girl. Listen, that was like my 2-3 minute recap of your, you know what I mean? But it was phenomenal, and I think it was really relevant to everything you're doing. And honestly, I think we're going to have to do a part 2 of this, because I have so many questions. So what I want to do from here is tell everyone right now, like, what do you do to take care of yourself? Because we are definitely doing a part 2. Like, we're going to schedule a part 2 and do it. And, as we kind of blend into this space of, like, up to the point that you started as an entrepreneur, you had to get through this self-identity thing, which is where I want to pick up, in case I forget next one. I want to pick up on the self-identity and how we connect to the thing that other people have been, associating with ourselves, and we've enveloped ourselves in, because in your case, it was a nurse and making all this money and doing all this stuff inside your marriage and outside as a professional. But what do you do today to, like, take care of yourself now and, just give yourself permission to pause?
There's 2 things that I do. So one thing is, it's called float therapy. I really enjoy it. I was nervous because I'm not afraid of small spaces, but I was just nervous about doing something different. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I took the leap. Sensory deprivation allows me to quiet my mind, because my mind is always firing. There's always something floating in and floating out, and I'm always processing. And then the other thing that I do is I take time with my mother-in-law, and I find these shows every couple years that we really just sit down and it's just us, and everybody needs to be quiet and go away, and we have, our glass of wine or whatever. Lately it's been Vera. Before it was Sex and the City and Single Ladies, and we just, it's my time to pull out of everything that I'm doing, and it gives me focus and it gives me pause, but it also gives me connection with my mother-in-law, because she is my mom. I have a mother, yes, but she's been hear from me since I was 17. I'm now 39. And that's my girl. Like, that's who I roll with. That's who we hang out with. So those are two things I do: the sensory deprivation and float therapy, and then, just hanging out with my mother-in-law. And that's how I take my pauses.
No, I absolutely love that. And with that, Kyana, before we get ready for part 2, which is going to, for you guys that are listening, is going to happen next week. So Kyana doesn't know this yet because we literally just created this right now, live on the air, organically. Yes. It's because she's so strategically agile. I know she'll be flexible with me as I'm putting her on the spot. So part 2 will air next week, but with part 1, tell everyone who's listening today how they can just follow up and connect with you.
My preference, because I love talking to people, is to give me a phone call, 267-625-2422. I love to hear what your situation is, because even if I cannot assist you, I have resources that I can definitely point you in the right direction and make sure you're getting what you need. And then email is the other way that I like to be connected with. I'm all over the place though, because I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I am wherever you can find me doing wonderful things in all those spaces. But to really be able to do what I do well for you, the call, picking up the phone or sending me an email and saying, hey, this is what my situation is, and allowing me to get back to you, those are the best ways.
No, that's perfect. Kyana, I thank you so much, and I honor you for not only part 1 of your time, but for part 2. Like, thanking you in advance, by the way. For part 2, you have been so amazing. Your story is so layered. And I just, like the first time when we spoke, I'm like, I can't get enough. So I know they can't either, because people are listening, whether they have healthcare backgrounds or not. Like, we identify and relate so much to the layers and the pivoting, and, to play off of Michelle Obama, who is the queen. Okay. It's all about becoming. And I think, honestly, next week when we talk, it's literally going to be picking up with Kyana Brathwaite with everything that she was talking about breaking through the old identity and becoming the new you. So that's going to be part 2. That might even be the official title. I don't know yet. That's kind of long for SEO, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. But thank you so much, Kyana. You are a pleasure, and you are amazing, and you are incredible. Thank you so much for your gifts to the world.
You're welcome, Naketa. And thank you I love your vibe, and just, you bring out the best in me. I could sit here and share so many different things, and it's because of who you are and how you create this safe space. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I honor you for that, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Kyana, don't go anywhere. You stay right there.
Okay.
Balance Boldly listeners. Isn't this it's like one of the best. It's orgasmic in its own way. How phenomenal this moment is. I'm so honored to have such amazing women and brave men that come and share their story and their journeys with us, and reminding all of us that it's not about looking like this picture perfect person, something that you can pull out of a magazine and plaster on your wall. It's real life. And these are real solutions to the real problems that we've all had to encounter one way or another. So I'm so grateful for you taking the time out on your treadmill, spin classes, during your runs, in the car, wherever you are when you're listening. I thank you. And of course, as always, I honor you. Of course, as we, normally say, if you love what you've heard, please make sure that you subscribe, rate, and share to help us ensure that the other ambitiously bold and brave out there have access to these valuable life, love, and business balance tools. Connect with me always. The best is Balance Boldly on IG. Of course, I'm on Twitter and Facebook, and just like Kyana, I'm kind of everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, IG, all of it. But the best place to reach me, if you just want to just kind of loosely connect, is IG. Send me a DM. Let me know you heard whichever episode it was, so we can connect from there. And obviously, if you want to go a little bit further, you can email me at nthigpen@thigpro.com, and you guys have all of that at the bottom of the show notes. Until next time, create your balance and create your joy. Thank you for listening.